Usually they have something in place to replace the old bogeyman. That was the far-right thing. But it isn't working anymore because Trump is gone. He got scrubbed. Now, they were kind of all in favor. Well, they said they were all in favor of him getting scrubbed. But now it's really having an adverse effect on their beloved revenue, their influence, their outreach. They cannot compete. Then they tried to sort of tweak the far-right narrative by adding QAnon and the Proud Boys to the equation. This would be ISIS and Al-Qaeda. That didn't last long, did it? Didn't really work. Now, in more recent times, back in September, because of some incel lunatic going out on a murder spree in Plymouth, they thought, hey, here we go, incels. That's new. I mean, we've all heard of Nazis and white supremacists and Pepe the Frog. It's boring, man. We need something new. And incels, what's an incel? And suddenly incels were everywhere. Incels were being talked about on This Morning. Incels. It's like, is your neighbor an incel? Call this helpline. We've got a checklist, an incel checklist. You might have to rummage through their bins to check for used condoms, but check out if your neighbor's an incel. Is your son an incel? Are you an incel? Dob yourself in. That didn't last. The incel narrative lasted about a week. That's not going to do. Al-Qaeda, Bin Laden, ISIS, this lasted years, decades. It just won't do. It didn't work. And I think part of the problem is they haven't been able to find a new figurehead bogeyman. I mean, they're trying everybody. No, they're trying to do it to Russell Brand. They're trying to do it to fucking Joe Rogan. They really are scraping the barrel when it comes to fear, figures of fear. People that you're supposed to look at and go, that's him, that's the one who's coming for my children. It's become very difficult. Even when Al-Qaeda and ISIS and the Taliban all returned in the same week, and we thought, well, we can just go back to the old fear machine, the old bogeymen. Islam, that worked. That hasn't lasted either. They're just running around, throwing shit at the wall, and nothing is sticking. It's almost also like a murder mystery. A whodunit. Who is the new bogeyman? And yet all the suspects aren't convincing enough. It's like a badly written episode of Midsummer Murders where you look at every character that they go interview and they're like, oh, well, they probably could have done it. They probably could have done it. Everyone's got a motive. All these people have just got these not very good motives. And you haven't really thought this whole murder mystery through. Like, it's like that guy was in Liverpool at the time of the murder and you've already stated it in the script. Oh, I did? Shit, I'm very bad at writing this. It's kind of like that. It's reached a stage where the desperation is clear. They don't know who the fuck are the enemy, and what you're supposed to be afraid of. And I think, COVID has a lot to do with it. COVID was a huge distraction from the main narrative because suddenly there's like, oh my God, this is the most terrifying thing you can have. It was perfect for them because it's, you can't see it. You don't really know who's got it. You don't really know how it gets transmitted. The fear of the unknown is fucking terrifying for people. That's why people are really scared of death. It's human nature, baby. So, although the COVID times, when it was in its peak, was really good for the fear machine. It was really good for the media. The daily death counts. Oh, what mask should you be wearing? Should you wear a mask? Don't wear a mask. Are you wearing a mask? You're a bastard. It was beautifully divisive as well, especially, with masks. Now, they've tried to create the new figures of fear as anti-vaxxers. Because, no one's scared of incels. No one's scared of the far right. People don't give a fuck about Al-Qaeda no more, So they just went back to anti-vaxxers. Anti-vaxxers. Or because they all get put in the same box. It's like, you're an anti-vaxxer. Well, maybe I'm a skeptic. Maybe I haven't made up my mind yet. Maybe I'm been told by my doctor not to have it. Doesn't matter. You're an enemy of the people now. Which is weird how, the real enemy of the people, which is the fear machine, create the, fake enemies of the people. It's good of them. But this keeps going on and on and on. And they're kind of sticking with the anti-vaxxer thing because it's like the only thing they got. Because people aren't afraid of COVID, especially in the UK. Like, even on the local news, and I've been here for 6 weeks or so, and my mum's always putting on the local news. And it's the daily COVID count. It's not the death count. It's like, let's have a look at the cases in the area. And it's done before the weather. It's like the news segment before the weather. Oh, upcoming is the daily COVID case numbers. And people going, it's going to be this much COVID in Bristol. Now, a couple of, I think yesterday or the day before, they said, we are now stopping the daily COVID count. And I'm going to round it up every week. I was like, well, fucking finally. Jesus Christ, just now. Because it's probably turning people off. Because it is just incessant. Everything's back to normal. All the doom and gloom and fear-mongering over another lockdown have kind of dissipated. Like, this would be the time that they're going to do it. Now, there is still hope. Don't worry. There's still hope. It might happen. You might get furloughed again. Don't worry about it. Don't worry, teachers. You can get paid twice again. Don't worry about it. I know you're desperate to be furloughed the shit out of again for another 20 years. But essentially, no one's afraid. Like, everything is working. It seems to all be working out. We're like one of the most open countries in the world. Weirdly. I always time these things right, every time. So it's like the fear narrative just doesn't work anymore because everyone's out and about and it's fine. The death rate is ridiculously small. Now everyone's like, oh, what's diabetes? Because that seems to be killing loads of motherfuckers. It's all changed. They can't continue with that narrative anymore. It's not sexy enough. It's not scary enough. So therefore, the anti-vaxxer thing isn't working. It's like that narrative is like, these are the people you must hate and be scared of. That's not working either. Because they can see the numbers. As much as they try to pimp the numbers, as much as they try to fuck with the data, they can't fuck with it too much. They just can't. That's the reality of it. And therefore they're left in a pickle. Who are we supposed to be afraid of? Who are we supposed to hate? They'll keep the anti-vaccine thing going. That will still run because it's got some weight to it because they haven't got much else. But it's not scary enough because everyone's just walking around being okay. And that's it. All the people who've been vaccinated feel protected and probably are. They're fine. Do you know what I mean? It's fat people need to be scared. I mean, but they don't scare fat people because fat people watch more television than regular people. That's their core base. They need them, don't they? Now what we're seeing is something even wilder. It's gotten completely bonkers. Whereas now they're trying to create hybrid. That's it. Actually, no, they're creating hybrid bogeymen. Because it's not enough. It's like they're sort of looking at it like, well, it's like, how fucked up do you want to get? Well, we had some booze and some cocaine. Woo! It's like, well, 2 + 2 does equal 4, and 4 is bigger than 2. It's like that. It's like a threesome. It's like I could either, play with 1 pair of titties or play with 2 pairs of titties. That's 4 titties for 2 hands. It's kind of what they're trying to do now. You'll see what I'm saying. Now, this is from the Labour Party conference, which is now called, I think, the Dear Comrade Conference is what it's called now. I still get a kick out of seeing people in 2021 going, "Hey, comrades," like it's the fucking 70s. This is wild. This is wild. Like, isn't that hilarious? There's people, grown-ups, going, "Hey, comrades." That's hilarious. So, I don't know if you are aware. I've got notes here because I don't know who the fuck this guy is. I think he's the Shadow Home Secretary. I might be wrong. No one knows who these people are anymore. Who cares? But his name is Nick Thomas-Symonds. Now, in his speech, which is a masterclass in lunacy, if you want to be a lunatic, watch his speech and take notes. He says, right, that, okay, this is the creation of a super terrorist hybrid bogeyman, okay? That's what it is. Now, what do we abbreviate that to? An STHB. An STHB. That's the acronym that you need to learn because I invented it. An STHB, a super terrorist hybrid bogeyman. That's what you're going to start seeing now because they're beyond desperate. They don't know what to do. They're like, well, we're just going to have to throw it all together. Eventually, there'll be like a bat mutant, a Nazi bat mutant incel that breathes MERS into your children's face as they sleep. They're going to have to wish and hope and pray that China are creating these batshit crazy, puns intended, batshit lunatic business shit that they're doing. These animal-human hybrids that they're creating in China. They hope that they are like the human part is someone from the Aryan Brotherhood, and the animal part is all MERS bat, or or AIDS pangolin, whatever they want. He says. So this is again Nick Thomas-Symonds. He spoke about the return of the Taliban. I was about to say Talibism. The return of the Taliban and extremism. Then he went on to say, right, the ongoing threat of online extremism in the form of the incel movement. Okay. So the return of the Taliban symbolizes the return of the Taliban. The problem with the return of the Taliban shows that there's an ongoing threat of online extremism from the incel movement. That's what he said. What's he saying? So he's saying that because the Taliban are back, that verifies the narrative that the incel movement is the biggest terrorist threat on planet Earth. He has taken the Taliban and merged it with incels to create some superhuman hybrid that no one knows about. Even MI5 and CIA, as crazy as they are going, the fuck is that, man? It's like something they invented, but like a joke one. Because they create stuff all the time. They're like, all right, well, what can we use as a reason to invade this country? I don't know, a Taliban incel. It's like, don't be a dick, but put it in the ideas pile just in case we run short. Like, where did this go? Because, like, if he got this from MI5, right, if they briefed him on this, which they're not going to do, because they don't even know who this guy is. They're like, who? Is he on a list or something? Who? Then I might be like, oh, well, that's interesting. Like, this new terror narrative that they're creating. What will they think of next? Kids say the funniest things. But it isn't. This guy has just... I don't know. Someone said we need to think of something scary because he's saying this to bash the government. Basically, he's saying this to bash the Conservatives, because even though the rise in incel terrorism because of the Taliban or because incels brought the Taliban back or something, I'm not sure what he means. The government hadn't put in place like a terrorist monitoring unit or something, whatever. Like as if they haven't been bugging us through every fucking orifice known to man. You can't even walk past a stray cat these days without them snitching on you to MI5. What are you talking about? Anyway, they're sending autistic kids to summer camps. Concentration camps. That's it. They're sending autistic kids to Guantanamo Bay because they're occupying 4chan and doing a bit of coding. They're fucking incels, bruv. Send them to Guantanamo. I don't know where he came up with this. Either this has been slipped to him or he just thought of it in his own brain. You just it was some SEO fucking report. Give me the buzzwords on terrorism from an SEO. He ran it through SEMrush or something. Come up with the keywords for terrorism. You did keyword research on Google Ads, Google Trends, wherever. Bing ads. He ran it through a keyword research and it came out and said, oh, here you go. Here's the keywords for terrorism. Incel Taliban, Abu Hamza. And he goes, well, Abu Hamza, the notorious incel, has brought the Taliban back on 4chan. It's literally, that's what he's saying. It's just like, he just comes out of it, just splurges out his mouth. You know, all he got briefed on some pointers about terrorism was saying, well, I'm the Shadow Home Secretary. I should be talking about terrorism. What's terrorism? Oh, like incels and Taliban and shit. He goes, right, okay, I'll bash the Tories with this hard fucking hitting data you've just given me. I don't know where the hell this clown got this shit from.